Here's a simple way for your organization to increase the quality of the software it creates. Stop saying QA when you mean testing. If you have a quality assurance group that actually does testing, change the group's name. Every time you hear one of your coworkers use the term QA to mean testing, correct him. And whenever you find yourself saying QA in your head when you're really thinking about testing, stop and set yourself straight. The reason for all of this is that correct thinking is the best path to correct action, and equating QA with testing is far from correct. Testing is important, but achieving real software quality requires a much broader view. A better approach is to look at quality through the wider lens of Application Lifecycle Management, ALM. Once you do this, it becomes obvious that quality assurance is part of every aspect of ALM. Here's how things commonly look today. Whether you're using waterfall or agile development, the traditional view of QA focuses on the testing part of the process. Both waterfall and agile processes turn requirements into an application, and both rely on the basic functions of design, code, and test. Organizations that use waterfall processes often call their testing group QA. And even though agile processes tend to spread the testing responsibility more broadly, it's not uncommon to use the same terminology. QA equals testing. But we all know this isn't true. Creating high-quality software requires much more than just good testing. To really assure quality, we need the broader perspective that ALM provides. To look at QA from an ALM perspective, we first need to understand what ALM is. A simple way to think about it is to divide ALM into three parts. The first is development, which is the process of creating an application. This part of ALM is sometimes referred to as the Software Development Lifecycle, SDLC. The second aspect is operations, which means running and managing the application after it's deployed. It's common to think of ALM as equivalent to SDLC. But this isn't right. ALM actually encompasses an application's entire lifecycle, from the time somebody first has the idea to create it, all the way until the application is removed from service. Operations is a critically important part of this, and so it's also a fundamental part of ALM. The third aspect of ALM is governance, which encompasses all of the decisions made about the application during its lifetime. This includes things like creating the business case for the application and project management during development. As you can see, governance spans both operations and development. This simple structure gives us a more accurate way to think about what QA really means. If we combine it with the earlier picture, we get an ALM view of quality assurance. The truth is that assuring quality requires focusing on every aspect of ALM: development, operations, and governance. Testing is part of this, but it's not even the most important part. And there certainly can't be a distinct group called QA, because ensuring software quality is part of everybody's job. It's worth taking a closer look at how quality fits into each of ALM's three aspects. For development, the important areas include these. First, requirements. Quality begins with defining the right product. A bug-free application that doesn't solve the right problem is still low-quality software. To solve the right problem, you need high-quality requirements. Choosing which you to supply them is important, as is the process used to capture and describe those requirements. Second, any good software architect knows that overall software quality is rooted in quality design. Many aspects of quality, like performance, testability, and manageability, depend on good design. Code quality also matters, of course. Over the last several decades, our industry has created many coding practices that help increase software quality. Unit testing, continuous integration, test-driven development, and lots more. The developers who write the code for an application clearly play a large part in quality assurance. And finally, test. The traditional home of QA is still important. But testing by itself can't provide software quality, if only because it comes too late in the process. The best it can do is find the places where earlier efforts to ensure quality have failed. The second part of ALM, operations, also impacts overall quality. Reliability, for example, is a core aspect of software quality. To its users, an application that's not available when they need it isn't high quality. But if it's unavailable because of internal bugs or poor operations, it doesn't matter to them. It's still a low-quality application. Focusing on code quality, working hard to squash every bug during development, without also focusing on reliable operation of the application, makes no sense. A development team that creates a great piece of software can see that work wasted by unreliable operations. Security is also tied to operations. Leaving the wrong port open in a firewall, for example, can expose an application to unexpected attacks. And without good security, no application has high quality. Governance, the third aspect of ALM, is also critical to quality. For example, think about initiation of a project. The most important decision made on any development project is the first one. Is this application worth building? Spending money creating custom software when an equivalent or maybe even better product is available off the shelf is not a high-quality decision. And creating custom code that addresses a low-priority business problem also isn't a high-quality choice. Making the wrong decision here is a great way to waste a lot of money. A project schedule also fits in here. How many development groups cut corners on quality because of schedule pressure? Delivering new software quickly can have real business value, and so trade-offs are unavoidable. But schedule decisions are an aspect of governance, and so thinking about quality assurance without considering this part of ALM makes no sense. One more example is the end-of-life decision for an application. Software quality isn't just about bugs. It's also about getting the most for your money. A big part of this is deciding when an application can be taken out of service. This can be hard in many organizations. There's always somebody who still uses the app. But making this decision well can save substantial amounts of money. And it's another example of quality in the ALM process. It's become a cliche, but it's still true. Quality is everybody's job. Software quality comes from every part of the ALM process, and so everyone needs to feel responsible for it. Passing the quality buck to a QA team just doesn't work, because quality can't be tested in. It's got to be built in throughout a project. In our hearts, we all know that QA is more than testing. This is not a revelation. But our perspective drives our actions. Words matter. And so thinking clearly requires using the right terminology. We also know that perfection is never possible. Quality in software really means achieving an acceptable level of risk. But whatever that level is, nobody can create high-quality software solely through testing. The best testers in the world can't stop your organization from creating low-quality software if they're part of an ineffective ALM process. What's needed is clear: a broad and holistic view of software quality that's rooted in ALM.